Hello, everybody. I am Pragito Dove, a meditation master, channel of love, hypnotherapist, and coach. And I'm here today to talk with my fabulous friend, Noreen Braman, about a course I have created called Laughter and Tears Meditations for Healing Your Heart.
Thank you so much for doing all the work that you do, Pragito, because I've been a big fan of yours for a long time and have found my laughter work. We are on parallel paths between laughter and meditation, and I'm loving sharing this with you today. So I'm Noreen Braman. I'm from the Smile Side of Life, Laughter and Happiness Club. I think that describes everything I do. So today we're talking about laughter and tears, and how laughter and tears are pretty much two sides of the same coin. And you can actually have a reaction of laughter or tears to the absolute same thing or incident. For example, one time I was teaching a laughter break class to a group of parents who had children with addictions and serious other mental health issues. And a few of those parents had lost their child. So we gently did some laughter exercises, giving permission in the room to just let it come, let it flow, let your resilience build up with some laughter exercises, even though nothing was funny. And gradually they warmed up to it and seemed to be happy and felt relieved, and I could see some relief on their faces until the end when I was leaving, and a parent came up to me sobbing. And I thought that I had done something wrong, that perhaps I had opened up a wound that I had not helped her close, but just made it more painful. And I embraced her and I said, "I'm so sorry. Please tell me what I did." And she says, "Oh no, these are happy tears. This is the first time I have laughed since I lost my son. We are approaching the second Christmas without him, and I was determined to not do any decorations. But now you have made me bring back memories of how much he loved Christmas, how much he laughed, and how much he enjoyed that season of the year. And so we're going to do it this year, and thank you for that." So my question for you, Pragito, is, did I do something right there? Is this something that matches with what your class is going to be about?
Yes, you did do something right. You held a laughter class, so that's always doing something right. And the magic of laughter is that it opens us up, it opens up the heart. And in my process, which has 3 stages, the first stage is laughter meditation, the second stage is tears meditation, and the third stage is sitting in silence and becoming a witness in a neutral, centered place. And so we do the laughter first because laughter is a very powerful energy to open us up. It opens up the throat chakra, it opens up the heart, and all the way down to our center, which is 2 inches below the navel. So in your class, you are opening everybody up, and that's always a good thing because it helps with healing the heart. And when you told me about this, the reaction of this woman with sobbing with tears, that's actually quite common because I've been doing this process for over 20 years. And laughter and tears, as you said, they're like two sides of the same coin. Both these are expressions of the heart. And sometimes we think something is incredibly funny, and sometimes we just burst into tears. And this is what happened with this woman. And it's so healing to cry because in this society we're in, I think a lot of people just don't know what to do with their grief. So they shut it down. And then they go up in the head because they don't want to feel the pain of the loss.
So how would you feel to a person telling you that I'm grieving, and to laugh is disrespectful to the person that I've lost? And I think sometimes this gets into a vicious cycle then, where your guilt is overwhelming your ability to make yourself feel better. So how would that laughter meditation get started with, say, you had a group of people who were grieving?
Well, first of all, I like what you said about the judgment, because judgment makes us stuck. It's from the mind, and it says you shouldn't do this and you ought to be doing that. And the mind knows nothing about our feeling state. It knows nothing about grief or laughter or our emotions. So it's not a good part of us to listen to. Always want to listen to your heart. So I think what I would say is the importance of the laughter is that it helps to bring up the grief, because the grief needs to be felt to be healed. Grief will never heal if we don't allow ourselves to feel it. And most people, I think, or a lot of people, they're afraid of feeling the pain of the loss. And yet, the thing is, the most healing energy on the planet is love. And when we don't allow ourselves to feel and live in the head saying that this is not a good idea, then we are stopping ourselves from receiving the love that is what is going to heal us from this grief. So, and it's not that, because I've been through this myself, and it's not that that person is gone, especially if they've died, or it could be a relationship that broke up or a job you lost. I mean, there's various reasons we feel grief. So when we allow ourselves to feel the grief, it heals, and then we can come to a deep inner peace, which is actually the third stage of this process. Because in this third stage, when we just sit in silence and witness the mind and allow everything to be as it is, we come to a deep centering. And by the time we've done all the laughter and the tears, then in the third stage, which is the centering, we're able to encompass both. Because life is comedy and life is tragedy. The ancient Greeks knew this, and we all know this. Yes, life isn't funny all the time, and life isn't sad all the time. It's both. And so it's giving ourselves permission to experience both the comedy and the tragedy, and feel the feelings and heal our hearts, so that we can come to that place of being in the center, where we can see that life contains laughter and tears. And that is a place of great wisdom, which allows us to enjoy our lives a lot more.
So I'm coming to your class, and we're going to start off with laughter. And I don't think that you're a comedian. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm not a comedian.
But you're probably not going to be telling jokes. How do you get people who are a little skeptical of laughter as a therapeutic outlet? How would you introduce this to them?
Well, the way I introduce this is I get everybody to raise their arms up in the air like this and shout out, Yahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo!
Yahoo! I love it.
And then we just start laughing. And there's actually a scientific reason for the Yahoo, is that when we shout out and raise your arms up in the air, what that does is it helps invoke very powerful feelings of positivity in the person. Yeah, it's a physiological effect that has. And because it's very difficult to go, Yahoo, I'm really depressed. You see, it does. It just doesn't work energetically. So I always start with 3, shouting out yahoos, raising your arms in the air, and then we all start laughing for no reason. As you said, I'm not a stand-up comedian, and we just laugh. There's no talking in a language you understand. So you can talk in gibberish, but the idea is you just keep yourself laughing. And I'm sure you know this in a group, that there's always somebody who's got some laughter going, and laughter's so infectious that you just can't not laugh. Because people sometimes say to me, well, you're leading it, do you laugh? And I said, well, of course, I can't not be laughing. And so laughter just leads to more laughter, because we have an inexhaustible supply of laughter in us.
It's amazing because this reminds me of something I found out very surprising, and that is that humans had laughter before they had language. And it was not because anything was funny, but it was a social bonding thing for, one group of Neanderthals meets another group of Neanderthals. We have no language. Our sign language is different to each other. A little bit of that limbic brain making you smile a little bit, show your teeth.
Yes.
And laugh, make those laughter sounds. I mean, I was amazed that I read that primates do this, bonobos and chimpanzees, and even rats use a type of laughter to bond. So it makes so much sense to me now that, of course, we're going to laugh for no reason. We're bonding
Yes.
with each other.
You actually don't need a reason. And you just think about babies. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I think probably most people have experience of babies, and babies just laugh for no reason. Little children laugh for no reason. They don't need a reason, because we are born full of laughter and joy. It's our natural state. And so all that's happened is we have just soaked up so many tensions and so much stress that it's kind of got buried, but it's still there. That's the good news. And what we're doing with the laughter classes, with the deliberate laughter practice, is we are just simply triggering or opening it all up again, because it's still there. So
when you're doing this, would you say that it puts the brain in a meditative state while we're doing this laughter as exercise?
yes, absolutely. So what happens is, it's not possible to be worried or anxious when you're laughing, because laughter is the more powerful energy. And what happens is it wipes the mind clean. It just, because when we are totally laughing, we are in the present moment. And what is meditation? Meditation is being in the present moment. This is why the laughter meditation is one of the most powerful techniques I teach of the whole range. I teach many techniques, but the laughter is the most popular for obvious reasons. And also it just works very quickly, because I can stand in front of a group who've never done it before and who think they can't do meditation. I've heard this a lot. Oh, I can't do meditation. I say, okay, you just tell me after we've done this if you think you still can't do meditation. And it works every time, because it works very quickly to erase the mind, to bring everybody into the present moment. And then it's very easy to drop down to your center, 2 inches below the navel. And these techniques are so powerful for us folks in the 21st century, because our lives are so mental, in the mental realm, And so we need techniques like this to snap us out of it really quickly. And then we can find our inner peace, which is also already in there. It's already there. And become more calm and peaceful and centered.
So now we've got everyone laughing. we're releasing endorphins, we're making feel-good hormones, we're bonding with each other. And now we're going to do the next part of your class, which is the tears meditation. So how do we bring someone from the laughter meditation that they've just experienced and are joyful about it, and how do we kind of bring that to the next part?
Well, actually, it's a natural progression because as I've said, the laughter's opening up the heart. And most people, deeper down in their hearts, they have some grief or sadness or some loss that's unexpressed in their life. And so the tears are starting and they're already ready for the tears to come. And so what I do is I do a chime to signify to them that we are now switching into the tears. And if I have some sad music, I play that. Or I take them through it. I guide them through it, encouraging them to feel their feelings of grief and sadness. So that's how I do that. And the interesting thing is the body is ready. The person's emotional state is ready, because the truth is they're just dying to release all this grief so they can feel better. Yeah. So it happens very naturally, like the woman in your class.
Well, and I do understand too that, often a grief or any negative things bring our resilience down. And when we don't have resilience, it's harder for us to recover from anything. And it seems so logical. Listening to you, it seems so logical. Now we're going to build up your resilience with some laughter. So now you can go into the tears part of this with the ability, a heightened sense maybe of being able to now bring it out.
Yes.
Would that be kind of
yes, exactly. And also it's permission, because I've been told this a lot too by many participants of this process, that they feel they're finally being given permission to cry, that it's okay to cry. It's okay to take your space and grieve that person, grieve that loss, because it needs to be grieved. And we have to make time for that. We have to make space for that. And the other thing that's so beneficial is because sometimes people are afraid they'll never stop crying and they're just going to go into a veil of tears and it's endless. But the thing is that somewhere, like in the back of their mind, they're going to remember the laughter. That, yes, now we're in the tears and it's sad and we're grieving, but remember, we can laugh about all this as well. We can still laugh because we've been given permission to laugh. We've been given permission to cry as well. And this is what helped me when my dad died, because I knew he wouldn't want me going around with a long face, all miserable. He loved to laugh. And I knew he would want to see me laughing as well as crying and grieving. So we have both options. So life is not a veil of tears. It might be temporarily, but then we can be laughing again, and go between the two, depending on what's happening that day. But when you learn this process, it gives you these tools.
It reminds me of a song from the movie The Way We Were. There's a line in that song that I always remember that says, "It's the laughter we will remember when we remember the way we were." And I have found that with some of the losses in my life, that my family will get together and we miss people who aren't there. And we begin to tell the stories, not the sad stories, the happy, the things that made us laugh, the ridiculous things.
Yes, exactly. Because probably if you that person was close to you, it wasn't all about sadness and misery. It was probably a lot of fun and a lot of love and enjoyment. And so it's really good to talk about those things and to laugh and know that that person would probably want you to be laughing and not totally miserable, although they understand you got to grieve as well because you miss them. Yeah. So, yeah, it's both.
That's the kind of when the laughter can turn into tears. We're laughing at the, we're laughing at the story and then we're missing them. And I've seen this happen, with my family. So I love the whole idea of this class, putting it all together in one experience. So now perhaps we've had some contemplation of our grief and maybe shed some tears. How then do we now experience this part you call sitting in the silence?
Well, again, I do a chime and we move on to the third part, which is sitting in silence, becoming a witness to the mind and to the emotions, so that we find that place of calm and clarity and wisdom where we can encompass the tragedy and the comedy of life in our embrace. Yes, because that is truly when we reach to wisdom, when we understand that life is both laughter and tears, and they will pass. I mean, if we're laughing a lot, then probably we're going to be crying, fairly soon. But then we're going to be laughing again, and then we're going to be crying again. And that's how life is. It's the richness of life. It's how we heal our hearts and keep ourselves in the joy of life itself. Because life isn't about everything being perfect. It just never is. And also it faces us with our mortality, because we all know we're going to die and the people around us are going to die. We just don't know when. And so it helps us with that deeper understanding and wisdom around death and dying, because love transcends death. And that person is still here in spirit, just not in the body. But their spirit's still with us.
So I am getting the impression that this class, you're going to teach people this process. They're going to do it together with you, but then they're going to go away having learned this process and being able to use it over and over.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You can use it over and over. It's what I've done. It's what all my clients and participants do, is just learning to understand that when you know these three parts and how they can help you with your life in general, because also a lot of creativity is released, especially through the laughter, but also through the tears. And then suddenly you're more creative, you're more joyful, you have more zest for life, and what it can bring you.
I really believe in that. And, when I have my thing that says live on the smile side of life, it's certainly not about having a smile on your face all the time and everything is just happy go lucky and whatever. It's smiling and laughing while you can, so that you can better handle things you need to cope with. And
Yes.
I am so impressed by this class, putting all that together in one place. And I think it's going to be a marvelous practice for people to develop, whether they've had any kind of deep grief or loss recently or not. Just to, there are things maybe back in your childhood
Yes.
was traumatic to you, may seem silly to an adult. My mother giving away my favorite blanket, oh my goodness, I was traumatized for weeks not having that. But those are the things that, they get in your amygdala, and who knows what we'll find.
Well, that's exactly it. These things have been sitting dormant and then they arise as we're giving them permission to arise. So it's like we're cleaning ourselves out, clearing out the clutter so that we can live more peaceful, more joyful, more creative lives. And I think that's what everybody wants, really.
So what would be your way of inviting and getting people enthused about this class? What's the most paramount, best thing you can tell them is going to happen?
I think inner peace. Inner peace. I mean, everybody wants world peace, and people talk about, oh, yes, we want world peace, but we're not going to have world peace until each person finds their own inner peace. And that's exactly what you can get from this process. That's how I found my inner peace. And that doesn't mean your life's perfect all the time. It isn't. But you always have that inner place of peace and calm and wisdom where you know whatever's going on, things will work out and it'll be good, you know?
We need that so much right now. There's
Yeah,
a
we
lot of
do.
turmoil in the world. I've worked with two groups of Ukrainian mental health professionals, and one of the groups told me, we've never seen each other laugh. And I
Oh,
can only imagine the trauma and the grief that they're dealing with helping other people, and to finally get them to just laugh. And again, it was laughter and tears together. So
yes,
it's
it
important.
exactly. And it would be going through. I mean, I think most people have, I don't know if whether it's a war or traumatic childhood or something, but I think most people have a certain amount of trauma in them that needs to be released. And you can do that with this process for sure.
Well, I think this has been a great summary of what you are doing with this class, and I'm looking forward to it. And do you have any last thoughts to give to everyone?
Well, I just can't encourage people enough to try it, because what can happen is the mind can say, oh, that's silly, doing laughter, that's just silly, that's not going to do anything. Whereas in fact, and there's research to prove this now, uh, it's very powerful, the effects that laughter can have on your well-being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then the same with the tears, and there's research to support this. And of course, the meditation at the end. This is ancient, that we can find inner peace through these methods. So
Thank you so much, Pragito Dove. You're a well-respected expert in the meditation and the laughter field, and I can't wait to take part in this class.
thank you so much, Noreen, for having me. I have really enjoyed this. Thank you.
You're welcome.